What happens when you take DC, zombies, and a pretty creative title? Hello there, I'm Keanu, and I like comics. One of those comics is DCeased, the zombie story by DC Comics in which the corrupted version of the anti-life equation took over the world by releasing a techno-organic virus causing all hell to break loose. Spanning between 4 titles, being the main series, the sequel, and 2 spin-offs, DCeased is one of my favorite comic stories, and I'm gonna ramble on why I think so. This isn't any sort of analysis, and I have no reason for uploading this other than showing my appreciation for the series. There will be spoilers, so yeah, you've been warned. DCeased is the epic world-ending zombie series written by this man right here. You can see here my buddy Tom, who I teleported here into the vacuum of space, is one of my favorite writers of all time. He is known for writing the Injustice comics and
killing every character you've come to love.
I mean, seriously, you can't get attached to a single character this dude writes, and I love it. The DC Trinity doesn't even last in the original series. The basic premise for the series is that Mr. Darkseid over here corrupted the anti-life equation within Cyborg, and when Cyborg got back to Earth, he sent out a techno-organic virus causing anyone using the internet or their phones to turn into zombie-like creatures that crave death. Fun. Basically, tons of heroes die, including almost all of the Justice League. They leave the planet, they go back to the planet in the sequel, and find a beheaded cyborg who tells everyone he's the cure. Boom, now you're caught up. Also in the spin-off DCeased Unkillables, it stars Jason Todd, Cassandra Cain, and James Gordon as they team up with a bunch of villains to protect a bunch of children, and most of the villains died trying to get to the jungle that has formed in Gotham. There's also a digital first series called Hope at World's End, which shows what everyone else has been up to, such as Wally West, Jimmy Olsen, Jay Garrick, and Stephanie Brown. There's also a ton of content with DCeased. Honestly, I was kind of worried they'd milk this series a little too much like Marvel Zombies, but so far it's been great. It honestly makes me like the zombie stories even more. I first got into zombies with the Walking Dead show and comic, and I did enjoy Marvel Zombies. I've always found post-apocalyptic stories and how they got that way really interesting, such as the previously mentioned media and games like Fallout. So when DC decided to start a post-apocalyptic series, I was pumped. This isn't DC's first story involving the undead, a great example being Blackest Night. But DC's just really raised the bar super high. So, let me talk about some of my favorite moments. One of the coolest and honestly pretty surprising moments is when Black Canary joins the Green Lantern Corps and becomes the Green Canary. The costume is pretty rad, and honestly, if they could fit this into the main canon, I'd be for it. Later in the series, she proves her worth as a Green Lantern even more when a giant explosion from an infected Captain Atom is headed towards many of the main characters, and I'm gonna be honest, I was actually worried, but she shielded them last minute with her new powers. She also used a giant megaphone using her ring, and used her canary cry to inflict damage on infected Superman. So yeah, Green Canary is one of the coolest additions to DCeased. Staying on the topic of character development, in the original 6 issues, Damian Wayne became Batman, due to a certain bat guy dying. And in the sequel Dead Planet, it is revealed that John Kent had become Superman and Cassie Sandsmark became Wonder Woman. So it's cool to see these legacy characters take on the roles of the DC Trinity. This series also doesn't hold back on any tearjerkers. One of the saddest moments is when Superman becomes infected and says goodbye to Lois, Martha, and his son John. When reading it, it's just devastating knowing the Man of Steel would die and probably be the biggest threat they've ever faced. And oh boy was I right. There is also a ton more sad moments such as Superman having to kill Jonathan Kent, Alfred having to kill Bruce, Jason burying Batman, Nightwing, and Red Robin, the death of Green Arrow, and many more. It's also pretty sad knowing there's an official cure, but a lot of the characters that have become infected were killed because no one knew about a cure. At least with a cure, there's hope for some of the infected that haven't been killed yet, but I'm sure they'd be scarred after ripping their faces off and trying to kill everything in their sight. So for a series about all your favorite characters dying, there are surprisingly a lot of heartwarming moments. One of the prime examples is in the series Hope at World's End, when Damian goes to the Batcave, only to find the graves of most of the Bat family. Look, I promise it's getting good in a second. Stephanie Brown is also in the Batcave and comforts Damian, but that's not even the most wholesome part. She then changes into a Robin costume, telling Damian, who is already suited up as Batman by now, "You need a Robin." Like, dude, Tom, why are you gonna make this so wholesome? I shouldn't feel this way because I know all the series brings is death. Another more hopeful moment is when John Kent embraces the embodiment of Superman as he goes to fight, well, Superman, and save all the refugees who are escaping Earth in giant arcs. He holds them off long enough until the Green Lantern Corps arrives. About time if you ask me. And they all get away, which concluded the original series. I also really dig the art in DCeased. It just gives me such a gloomy vibe, and I think that fits the tone of the series very well. By the time this video comes out, we will be 3 issues into Dead Planet, so I'm wondering, what will DCeased have in store after Dead Planet is done? Will we get more comics? Will it cross over into the main continuity? Please don't do that, I'm begging you, please don't. Or maybe they'll avoid having too much of a good thing and end it. I've seen people say they want a DCeased animated movie, and why that would be cool, I just have such a mixed feeling on it. I just don't know if it would be a good idea or if the whole story could even fit. It would feel too clustered if they tried to fit multiple stories into it, but this is just me saying whatever is coming to mind. I'm sure if they announced a film or series or whatever for it, I would undoubtedly be excited because I do love the series. I just don't know how they would manage to do it all. I do really want DCeased figurines and any other DCeased merch. For example, on DC Fandom, they had this cover on a t-shirt with the Fandom logo, and I immediately bought it because, well, if I'm making a video talking about it, I obviously want a t-shirt. So yeah, that was my ramble on DCeased. Like I said, I just love this series because I just have a blast experiencing it. I know a lot of comic YouTubers and those in the DC and comic community enjoy it, and rightfully so because this series is awesome. But what do you guys think? Do you like DCeased or are you not a fan of the zombie genre? What are some of your most memorable moments in the series? Let me know in the comments what you think. I am working hard on pumping out new videos because I love making them, but I'm not gonna lie, I did get a little sidetracked because I got Persona 5 Royal and I binge played it, and let me tell you, I've never been so addicted to a video game before. I'll also be playing Marvel's Avengers when it comes out, so I'll for sure be talking about it on this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and please make sure to stay awesome and support your local comic book shops.